Chris, an NBA star, now a published author. When you hold that book in your hand, what goes through your mind?
Oh man, how? How is sort of what goes through my head, but it excites me because people from here, my family, my close friends, and everyone always knew how much my grandfather meant to me. But when I look at that book, there's a different type of joy that comes because I've been able to share his story with so many more people.
What was the process like writing this? I mean, did you always want to be a writer when you were at West Forsyth or Wake Forest?
No. If you talk to any of my teachers, it's definitely not my strong suit. But what I learned throughout this process is when you're writing a book, especially something this personal, is that you got to make it sound like you. It's got to be real, and it was an entire process. And when you read this book, you get a chance to feel some of my emotions, the things that I went through, the things that I processed at the age of 17, but things that I've been processing ever since.
An emotional time for you when your grandfather passed away at 61, and then you scored 61 points in that high school game. What did that mean to you?
It meant everything. It meant everything, especially to have my family in attendance. Definitely still something I think about occasionally. It's always so crazy for me to hear people when I come home say that they were at that game, because it was special. I still had a basketball at my parents' house from that game in a case, and that day and that feeling is something that'll never go away.
It's almost like you scripted it.
Yeah, almost, right? But it's my Aunt Rhonda actually mentioned it before I left to go to the game, but I didn't know that would actually take place.
When people close this book, what do you want them to walk away with?
I think when people close this book, I want them to understand how important their relationships are, with their loved ones. Mine was with my grandfather. For someone else, it may be your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle. But also understand when you lose people, there's no timeline for when you deal with it or how you cope with it. Everyone is different, and just understand that even though you lose them in the flesh, their memories and the love that they gave you always remains.
Man, my grandfather meant so much to me, so I completely get it. If I had to read one page of this book, what page would you recommend?
What page? You know what, I would probably say what chapter. It would be probably chapter 19, because that's when I really talk about the funeral, the feelings, and everything that went through that process. So probably that chapter.
All right, let's talk about basketball for a second. I know you were traded a couple of days ago. When it comes to trades, you could be at one place one day, across the country the next day. How do you handle that mindset?
Fortunately, I've been in this thing for 18 years, so things could be a lot worse. I get a chance to play basketball every day and say that's my way of life. So you figure it out, you talk it over with your family, and get ready.
Does it ever get in your head where you're going to be next?
Yes, usually you know, but it's such a crazy league. Things happen all the time, but I'm fortunate to have a family and a support system that we worry about it when it's time.
Thank you.
No problem.